My reason for going into photojournalism is, first of all, that I'm just of a visual mindset. Some people are great writers, some are great singers, some are great artists in other fields. My talent, I guess, is just visual. And to that extent, I've always been, when I remember stuff, I remember things in visuals. I remember them in still frames. Whether that being from my childhood or frames that I saw on television when I was young, or it's always these still frames that come to mind, and it seems obvious to follow that way. And I'm a nerd. I'm a geek about current events and recent history. I mean, I don't care really about. My interest is 20th century history, and that's because it's what forms the society that I live in today, and I care about that. In terms of going to photography, I was when I was a kid, I wanted to be a film director, but when I saw everything changed basically when I saw the World Press Photo anniversary book from 1985, I think it was, somewhere at a library back in Denmark, and there were images there that was 25 years old that just had a deep resonance within me, and it still remember a shot, I think from 1960 or something. I can't even remember the photographer. There's a priest holding a deadly wounded soldier in some conflict in South America, and giving him the last rites, whereas while he was watching the sniper in his eyes, he was basically eyeballing the sniper who tried to get the final shot in at this soldier. And it just stayed with me. It was a terrible strong image. And from then on, you just move on to any kind of image from Vietnam, Cambodia. So that's the ability to get that kind of emotion and that kind of documentation into one frame was just incredible. So from that point, I just decided, yeah, that's what I want to be. I want to be a photojournalist because my interest is the human condition. I'm interested in people. I'm curious. I'm curious as hell. And then there's the perks. You know, obviously, you get to see the world. You get, if you're lucky enough, and you get to see the kind of the flip side of the postcard. You get to see the real life, and you get to see the real deal instead of all the commercials and all that. So it was just a matter of getting here some way or the other, and as it turned out, I had to have a detour into the commercial business of it. And the great thing about commercial and fashion photography is that these guys are really, really skilled craftsmen in what they do. And so when I learned the craft, I just ditched the business and went for photojournalism. And at the time, photojournalism in Denmark sort of changed. This is back in early 2000, I think. The paper editions got cut more and more, and the big newspapers just, cut back on using photos. And that's when I turned to the internet. And because all of a sudden there was this place where you can, instead of having your bleeding heart reportage being cut down to 2 images on page 13, you could have all the space in the world, and you can have 13, 14, 15 edit of your story and just let it play out beautifully in color, black and white, strong contrast, not depending on any crap print that they might be using if the printer had a bad day at the office, and it would look incredible. And from then on, it just built. But at some point, it just changed again, because just setting up a sound slide and a sequence of images that just played out. It doesn't seem like half the job done. So adding sound, adding natural sound, adding ambience became the next logical step. And all of a sudden we were doing these illustrated radio documentaries, which was basically the starting point. And for me and for Bombay Flying Club, it's always been a blessing not being hired by any big media outlet. We've always been independent. This has given us the freedom to work outside editorial guidance or editorial rules. So we pretty much came up with our own concept, not deliberately, but just as a matter of fact that this was what we thought the story carried. This was what the story needed. So from the starting point in 2005, when we did our first story called The Art Orange Suicides, it just became a matter of developing stories. And what we saw at the same time was photographers, extremely skilled photographers, who just basically put their brilliant photographies into this sound slide mold, adding some indifferent tunes from their iTunes library, and just ending up with a very, very poor version of the story that they originally did, because they didn't take the media platform seriously. And it's just beyond me. I can't believe it. And we're still seeing it in 2011, 6 years down the road. We're still seeing that. Beautiful, beautiful, important photography delivered in the worst possible way. If you don't have an audience, you don't have anything. And I mean, if I'm clicking away within 3 images of a 20 image edit, I'm just wasting, the photographer's just been wasting his editor's money and time, and the people that he's depicting, which is the most important thing. Their cause, their plight just went unheard. So making stories that has a resonance, that has ramifications, that has an impact on people, and that keeps the audience watching to the very last frame, that is what's so damn important to me.